Welcome to Unruly 3, father of 3 unruly kids.
I'm not really.
My brother got this old hand plane at a estate sale, and it had seen some better days. You can see the sole's in pretty rough shape. It's missing a whole lever cap. You can see it's just held in by this bolt. So I'm gonna take it and see if I can restore it. This plane is like a Union New Britain, number 27. Kind of looked them up on eBay. I think I seen some that were in a little bit even better shape than this. They're going not for much, 28 bucks. So I'm gonna do some things. I'm gonna probably end up destroying this, but I'm gonna make a new one out of this wood. I got this wood from woodworker up the road who is going out of business, and like all woodworkers, we keep random little pieces of wood around. This is a super heavy piece of wood. No idea what it is, but it's sure gonna be pretty. And I thought I'm just gonna make a new sole and knob and a new tote. And I'm gonna use this wood and redo this whole thing, and probably end up ruining it, but I'm gonna take you guys with me and we'll see what we get. So one thing I like to do is buy like cheaper chisels from garage sales. This is just a Buck Brothers. I think you can probably get these at Home Depot. I don't know how expensive they are, but you can usually find them at garage sales pretty cheap. And these are to not use your fancy ones, but use them on things where you're gonna do things that you might not want to see your fancy ones do. So as I'm grinding on this, I'm finding that, I don't know if you can see, it says Stanley Sweetheart on that one. So this is a little Frankenstein. It's got some different pieces from different ones. So now I don't feel so bad using a different lever cap on there. So I'll keep going. Here's where I'm going to get in a little trouble. So, inspired by Chris over at Third Coast Craftsman and his dog Oots, I decided to go ahead and cut on this and kind of do a little bit of a modification here. So, if you love it, I appreciate a like. If you hate it, just head on over to Third Coast Craftsman and let him know that he is a bad influence on some of today's youth and that he needs to do a better job. So yeah, so this wood that I was planning on using as I run it through the planer is just chipping out like crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and use this big piece of hickory that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it to size and length, and then once I run it through the planer you can see a huge difference. It's nice and smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. Now the Third Coast Craftsman, when he was doing his hand plane, he chiseled out the relief on the inside, but I am going to cut this to width and then cut a 45 on it and then glue the sides back on. So you'll kind of see what I do here in a little bit. So this is the handle, or I guess they call it a tote, that was on the other one. It's pretty small, but I mean, it kind of worked for my hand. I am gonna use, so the problem is that I wanted, this part right here is always the weakest part because the grain, when it's running this way, is really thin there. Or the grain's running in a weak spot. So it will break. And so ideally you would want to be able to twist it. I've cut up my hickory piece so much that I don't really have the ability to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use a handle. This is the kind of handle that goes on Veritas planes. And I kind of want to get a little bit of the color here. This one has a little bit darker, some darker grain, just to give it something. And that will allow me to use this and to twist it to try to get some other grain running up into that a little bit and try to make it a little bit stronger. So I'm going to use this with this type of handle, maybe even stretch it out a little bit. So I changed my mind a little bit. This board is a little bit wider, allows me to get a little bit more of an angle, and has a little bit of grain that's going to add some character to it. So I'm going to use this one. So I was a little bit in panic mode. The adjustment for the blade, so this is the same height as this one. I mean, millimeters higher. But this wouldn't even bring it even close to being all the way down. So I cut another hole that much. It was that far from getting down into below the blade to cut. Now when I have it on there, this seat's there, and I can adjust my height there, and the new stuff all kind of works. So now I believe, I got this a little close to the handle. Well, I don't think it's going to do too much anyway. Well, let's see if it'll cut. That's a big pipe, but so this wood isn't the best. It's got lots of holes in it and everything, but so here it is at the end. See, I bought a new tote. So one thing that's a little bit different from me in the Third Coast Craftsman is I had kind of decided I was not going to use my dog to try to get any likes